Hi guys, it's Kelly, and surprisingly, I'm back again with another video. Today's video is featuring this is an older product. This is Hello Lovely from Concord and 9th. And we're going to be doing a little bit of bright watercolor painting. Really easy because I'm not stressing myself out too much these days. So I have an A2 watercolor cardstock. So this is 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm going to stamp down this large floral in the center. And I'm doing that. I'm using Hero Arts Intensa black ink because it is waterproof, and I did want the bold black outline. You guys know I love a bold black outline, especially with bright colors. So I am going to ink this up and stamp it down 2 times because on watercolored paper, it's a little bit more textured. So sometimes it can be hard to get like a solid black. So I did stamp mine more than once. Now, I will say, if you are looking for a softer look, many years ago, that's how old this stamp is, I did another video where I did a controlled watercolor that was no line with the same image. I will try to remember to link it at the end of the video. So remember when I was telling you guys in my other video that I wanted to pick up some new stuff, but I was like, hey, you haven't used like a lot of this other stuff in a while, so you have to use that stuff to justify buying new stuff. So Concord and 9th is having their inventory sale, and it is June 9th through the 16th. So it just started yesterday. And the earlier you shop, the better the deals are. We'll come back to the sale in just a minute. It's linked below in case you're worried about missing out. I would be. But let me tell you what I'm doing here. So I've kind of picked out a rainbow of bright colors, and these are the Karin Brushmarker Pro watercolor markers. And so I like to kind of swatch them out because the cap doesn't always match what they look like when you put them down. They're pretty close, but sometimes they water out a bit differently. For example, the plum color definitely looks like it's going to be dark, but once you water it out, it is a nice kind of vibrant violet. So here I'm just getting an idea of what the colors are going to look like so I know what colors I want to mix together. I personally like a lot of color variation in my watercolor. Not everybody does, but I do. So feel free to cut back on the amount of colors if you don't like this much variation. So once I have them all down and I'm happy with the way that they're looking, then I can go ahead and bring in my image. Now you'll have to forgive me because I started painting before I was zoomed in. But basically, I prefer what is a more controlled kind of ink application. So with these, I go directly in with the marker where I want it to be the darkest. And then I take clean water from the edge, in this case, of the petal, and then I bring it into where the ink is the darkest. Then that way it kind of pulls out, the water kind of pulls out the color, and it really organically fills in the petal without me over manipulating it, and gives a really pretty watercolor effect. Now, because I do like color variation, I frequently will add another color. In this case, I went back in with, I think it's pale lilac, and dropped some more like pinky purple in there. I will also sometimes go back with my darkest color again and kind of add in some more of that to help it spread out and deepen the color. But that's pretty much how I work all of these. Now, something to note, like here you can see I'm breaking the rules because you're not supposed to work next to 2 areas that are wet because they will spread into each other. So if you want really controlled each petal, then you want to do them one at a time, like I'm doing with the bigger flower, like how I'm leaving that petal separated in between so they won't move together. The smaller flowers, I wasn't as worried about it. But that's just something to let you know. Also, you want to control the amount of water that you're using. I have, over the years, gotten really good at knowing how much moisture to pick up with my watercolor brush. But if you're just starting, you will want to use a paper towel and then blot the bottom portion of your paintbrush, and that's going to absorb any of the extra water from the bristles without removing it from the tip, which is where you need it to move the pigment. And you'll see me do this later on in the video. I still do it as well. When it comes to smaller areas like those tinier leaves, I definitely still use it, and so you'll see me use those. So let's go back to talking about the sale. So, P.S. I am going to speed this up in just a little bit. So the sale is huge. It's massive, and it even includes like their newest release, and it goes from 20% up all the way to 20% off all the way to 70% off. So it is an enormous sale. And I'm not going to tell you how much money I spent because my husband listens to these videos. So, I'm not going to tell my secrets, but I did spend a considerable amount. Greg, who is the owner, I love and adore him. I am happy to support his business. He's a super funny guy, super nice guy, really genuinely. I'm glad to support his business. And it's been a while. This is how I justified it. I was like, it's been a while since I've gone in there and really like shopped for a lot of Concord and 9th. And, Greg and I are friends, so I owe it to him, right? I mean, it's only right of me to go in and support another small business by purchasing all of their beautiful items. Oh, and it makes me happy. So, and right now, just with whatever things, the way things are going in life, like I'm just snatching up any happiness I can get. And if that means buying some new stamps and dies, then I'm here for it. But anyway, I will link that below. If you are a fan of Concord 9th, or if you've never heard of them, I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Their products are both beautiful and they're very original. They have unique products. So so that's that. So I, as you guys know, have you been watching my videos, that I am kind of, I don't want to say dumbing it down because that's not true. That's not what's happening with our techniques. But I'm kind of going back to basics with where I'm at in my creativity. I'm returning to things that are easy for me to love, that easily bring me joy. And so bright colors with black and white, like that is something, and if you watched my last video, you probably saw that. Some really bright colors with some pops of black and white. That really does make me happy. I enjoy using the Karin, like the markers. I also have Zig clean color markers. I enjoy those as well. Both of them tend to be a bit on the brighter side. And that makes my little heart happy. So I'm doing that. I do want to know, and I know that we've talked about it before, and I'm not sure what the problem is, and I need to figure it out. But for some reason, I have a Canon Vixia, and I have it on autofocus, but for some reason it has a tendency to kind of go in and out of being blurry, and I don't really know why. Looking into it, like it said some things about you don't have enough contrast on the screen. Well, I mean, how could we have any more? We have black and white. How could we have any more contrast? The other thing it said is that the some of the settings might be off, so I do need to kind of like do a deep dive into that and figure out what the problem is, because editing this video, it drove me insane. So I can only imagine how you guys will feel in watching it. So please bear with me. Here again, we have the flowers, a couple of different variations of colors in the flowers, and I'm going to do the same thing. There's like 3 different styles of leaves in here. There's the bigger ones that we're doing here now, the medium-sized ones, and then the smaller ones. Honestly, by the time I got done with the smaller ones, they were almost kind of like the same shade as the medium ones. I meant to have more color variation. I did actually use 2 different color combinations to get there, but they ended up looking the same. So that just goes to show you that you don't need all the colors. But for this one, I did a kind of like a lime green, and then I added some yellow into that. a yellow green is pink's complementary color, so I knew that they would look really nice together. And purple's complementary color is yellow as well, so that I knew, again, would also look very nice together. And then here, this one is the turquoise. Here you see me bringing in that paper towel like I talked about before and blotting just the base of the paintbrush in order to just maintain more control. The more water you have, the less control you have, the more, or the less water you have, the more control you have. So you can also see here, sometimes I'm kind of scribbling some markers off on the side, and that is so that I can pick up those colors with my paintbrush and drop them where I want, and, you know, have a little bit of extra control with it, like not so that the pigment isn't so heavy straight out of the marker. You can pick it up in kind of a lighter fashion and drop it in where you would like it to go. So that's another way that you can have like a little bit more control over the color that you're putting down, or the outcome of the color, I guess is maybe a better way to say that. So yeah, that turquoise color is one of my favorites. I just think it's so pretty. You guys know blue is my boyfriend. Turquoise is like neighbors with blue, so it's not a big shock that I would be such a big fan. So as far as life goes, I shared with you guys during the school year that Peanut had been playing trombone. And so he is still doing that, and he will be doing that next year. They did have some summer, like band camp things that he could go do if he wanted. One of them was like at the school where he could go. And then one of them was the school was doing like a fair where they would like, you know, practice their stuff and they would go play at the fair. But he really had no interest in doing either one of them. One of the things that he has an opportunity to do as he progresses in his musical prowess is he can join jazz band, which is not for the entry level grades. That's kind of once you get more established into band. So next year he would have the opportunity to try out for jazz band if he's interested. And one of the things that is in jazz band is the electric guitar, which he has showed a great deal of interest in. So I have been encouraging him to take guitar lessons, which he's kind of been like poo-poo about. So he is a little bit more shy and a little more reserved. Like he's less likely to try something new than my feral child, my second child. I have a feeling I'll have no issue with her. She's doing something new too. But we'll talk about that in another video, because this one's a lot shorter than most of my videos. But since we're like heading back to basics, there wasn't really a lot to do with this card, and I'm not sad about it because it made me happy. So anyway, so I was like, well, I'll contact the school that does the lessons, and they do like school tours. And so I was like, yeah, I'll contact them and see, you know. And so while he was on vacation with his dad, I did set up a appointment for us to go and kind of be introduced to the school and see what's going on. And I thought, well, maybe he'll be more interested in it. Let's go back to the card. So here, all of my painting is done. More importantly, all of my painting is dry. And I knew that I wanted to trim it down, but because I'm not doing much else with this card, I wanted to add a little bit more interest. So I actually ended up using a die cut that was put in a stitched edge. So I did trim that down. Then here for the sentiment, I am using that same set, which by the way, I think I said that this set is on sale. I think it's like 30 or 40% off, something like that. And it also has coordinating dies. I just don't own the dies because, well, most times I don't spend the money on the dies because I am perfectly happy to use them as a one layer card. But anywho, so I am going back really far old school and doing what I used to do, which is I am stamping down my sentiment. It's going to say just a little thanks. I told you guys I have a lot of thank you cards that I need to send. And I am going to outline this so that you can read it and it is legible in a white gel pen. That's not going to be for everybody. If you don't like that, you could like stamp them in white on black, heat emboss them, and then trim them out to be little labels. That would be cute too. Or buy the dies. I don't even know if the letter, like if the sentiments are in the dies. I'm not sure because I don't own them. So, but check that. Check that out. So, and then from there, I am going to do a little bit of outlining with my fine liner to make that black really bold. This is, again, something that I used to do in almost every card, but stamp positioners kind of changed the need for that. But it is very relaxing for me to just like trace the images in the fine liner. This is not necessary, but it is something that I enjoy as part of my creating. So I did it here. The only part that I did and not outline is the portion that's behind the sentiment, because making it a bolder black behind the sentiment would increase its illegibility. So I didn't want that. But other than that, then I did the white outline around the sentiment, and then I used my fine liner to fill in those areas, anything that I had missed there as well. And then, of course, there's more white gel pen details because I have no self-control. So anyway, so I was like, well, I will make the appointment. Maybe if he sees kids his own age kind of playing, he gets an idea for it, like that he'll be interested in doing it. So I went ahead and made the appointment, and it is today, so I'm excited to see how it goes. And then when he came home, my dad came over for dinner. When was that? Sunday? It was Sunday. And we were talking talking about like band and stuff, and my dad was like, well, I want to see him play the electric guitar. And Peanut goes, yeah, I do want to do that. I was like, oh, good. We have an appointment on Tuesday. So I asked him what changed his mind. And apparently his cousin on his dad's side is learning to play guitar as well. And he brought it with him on vacation. So once he saw his cousin playing kind of like live and in living color, he was very interested in learning how to play himself. So I'm glad, because I don't just want to throw him into it because it's super pricey to just be like randomly paying for something. But if he is into it, then I think it'll be really, really good for him. So the last thing that I did was I added a little bit of glitter to all of the images. You do have to be careful because this is moisture, so it can reactivate some of that watercolor. As long as you're not scrubbing, I don't think you have too much to worry about. And then this is the finished card. I love the way that it came out. More importantly, I am very appreciative for the joy that I had in making it. I will link that sale below. Like I said, it runs through the 16th. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.